I would say I was 17, let's say, maybe 18. And the Fillmore West was a place where all the concerts were happening. I talked about it a little bit earlier. All the bands of the day were playing at the Fillmore West in San Francisco. And, you know, you would have big bands like Cream, but with that group would be B.B. King or Charles Lloyd. Or you'd have like the Yardbirds with Jeff Beck and Jimmy Page, with Charles Lloyd and the Staple Singers. You know, you'd have these combinations of really wonderful music. And there was one night where, a couple of nights where it was called Super Section with Michael Bloomfield and Al Cooper and Stephen Stills. And I don't know why, Michael Bloomfield was a guitar player who was like the American Eric Clapton. And I called all my friends. I lived about 30 miles from San Francisco. I was playing in a bunch of bands and stuff. I called all my music friends. I said, let's go see if we can sit in for this thing. See if we can sit in. And every one of them said, yeah, right. So I called one last guy, and he was a little bit older. Well, everybody was older than me. And he said, yeah, it sounds like a great idea. Hold on 1 second. And he was already living with a girl. I was still living with my parents. He came back and he said, I think I'm going to stay in tonight. And it really made an impression on me. I said, man, you were ready to go, you went and talked to your girlfriend, and now you're staying in tonight. I didn't get married till I was in my 30s. Because of that. I asked my father if I could borrow the car. I said, doggone it, I'm going to go and try, just so I can say I tried. So I borrowed my father's car. I drove to the city. I walked into Fillmore. Before I could get scared, I walked straight to the stage. I pulled on Michael Bloomfield's pants, and I said, hey, man, I'm a drummer. Think I can sit in? Waiting for him to, you know, kick me in the face and say, you know, yeah, right. So he leans down and says, man, the drummer's a really nice guy. Let me go ask him. And that's not what I expected. And I ended up sitting in. And I was so afraid, I don't remember a note. I literally don't remember it. But I know it happened because I was backstage afterwards. The manager of Santana and the bass player of Santana were there. They were already playing the Fillmore. I'd already seen them. I'd already said to my brother, that's the band I want to play with. And they took my number and said, we're thinking about getting another drummer. I didn't hear from them. 6, 7 months later, I went to a recording studio where I was always trying to hustle time for my bands, different bands. I'd go and hang out. I drove down there one night, borrowed my father's car, and you see the recurring theme. I'm walking in the door of this recording studio. As I'm walking in, the drummer of Santana is walking out. We pass each other in the doorway. Now they have a record deal. They're recording for CBS Records. They just had a big falling out with the drummer. A couple of the guys remember me from that night. They asked me if I want to jam. We jam for hours. At the end of it, they take me in another room and they say, you want to be in the band?
Yeah. Great. Great story.
So I pulled out my iPhone and I said, let me check my schedule.
And what did you say to you guys' persistence? I'm even talking over here, but persistence.
Well, they followed me home to my parents' house, literally. I woke up my parents. I woke them up. Yeah. I said, okay, guys, this is where I get off. And I got in the car with them, drove up to San Francisco, took my place on the couch. That was it. I was in the band. But the lesson is this. I went to the Fillmore that night when nobody else did. I took the chance, I made the extra effort when nobody else did.
You went up to Michael Bloomfield, you weren't afraid.
I was scared to death.
But what I mean though is you did it.
But I did.
But you did it, and that's what it's all about.
And so, I always say that, you know, good fortune comes to those who are ready. Luck doesn't really happen. You kind of create it yourself. But, you know, whatever forces were, obviously it was meant to be. Now, there's a whole other, like, tributary that happened before that, where I was going to be playing with Jefferson Airplane before Santana. I'd already, like, played with them somehow. First airplane ride I ever took was to Los Angeles with Yorma and Jack from Jefferson Airplane. And this is before all that business with Santana. Didn't work out with those guys. Thank God. I mean, you know, they remained friends. Oh, you know, we're still friends, but Santana was the place to be. We weren't really a hippie band either, you know. Yeah.
Was there ever a time in your career that you got discouraged and wanted to walk away from music, and if so, what made you change?
Oh, jeez. The answer is yes. And what did it is because, believe it or not, it's hard to make money, you know. I mean, it's hard to sustain it. And the truth is, like, when you're successful as young as I was, everybody's always comparing you to that, you know. I'm 65 now, and still people really just remember me for something I did when I was 13. I mean, 19. I mean, 20. And that's why I say, if you're going to do it because you really want to do it. Don't do it because you want to get rich or you want to be famous, because you better love it, you know. And it's not, it doesn't, I don't care who you are, whether you're Jeff Beck or you're, you know, whoever. It's not easy all the time. It's like anybody else in life when you go through your trials and tribulations. So you better have something that runs, like the river better run deep for you to want to stay there. And I'm not opposed to doing something else, you know. But what? I'm interested in a lot of things. It doesn't mean